Good morning, all. It is time for our opening song.
I woke up this morning, smiling with the rising sun. 3 little birds sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melody pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing. You know every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. I woke up this morning, smiling with the rising sun. 3 little birds sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing was gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. You know every little thing is gonna be alright. This morning, smiling with the rising sun. The 3 little birds sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melody pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. I won't worry, don't worry about a thing. You know every little thing is gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You know every little thing is gonna be alright.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Well, welcome, everyone. We are Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, and we teach the science of mind so that we can all live better lives and contribute to a world that works for everyone. I am practitioner Christine Duval, and these are the others helping in service today. Our tech team today is Hannah Mason, Tamara Williams, and Tom Gardner. Our greeters, ushers, and welcomers are Linda Bowe, Carmela Herrera, Doug Bowe, and Carol Ann Armijo. Our special guest musician is Chris Dracup, and I will introduce him in more detail before his next song. In the bookstore, we have Gilbert Arveos and Leni Menken. On High Watch, here in the center, we have Marilyn O'Leary and Lisa Kerr. And at home, Julia Washington, Kathy Mathias, and Teresa Grieco, and other dedicated practitioners. Our invocation and benediction are offered by chaplain and practitioner Tulia Hiron. Our announcements today are read by Doug Bowe. Our snack angels are led by Carol Ann Armijo, and the talk is delivered by our very own Reverend Tammi Lambert, and she has entitled her talk, Who Owns the Problem? So please join me in reading our vision and mission statements. Vision, transforming our world with the power of love in action. Mission, loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest selves. And let us prepare our hearts now for the invocation.
Let us close our eyes, and as we do, let us bring ourselves inward to that secret place within where the love of the divine not only lives but thrives. And as we do, let me also say welcome. Welcome to everyone here, physically present. What a joy to see you all. And especially welcome all those online and streaming who are here in their divine energy, for all is one. And so we know we're all here together. And it is as we come together that we who are these powerful centers of divine consciousness create even more power and more light and more love to share and shine upon and within the world, which our world can so much use. So let us just take one moment and hold our light with the intention of sending it and shining it out to all, and especially those in need, whether Afghans, Haitians, our loved ones, sick ones, dying ones, birthing ones, and those recently birthed, as well as those who we may have recently commemorated their passing, such as Sherry Ann Dempsey Holmes, who I especially commemorate at this time. And so to all of us here, I say yes to life, yes to being that bursting, bright, beautiful center of loving consciousness that we are. And so today, in this celebration of service and of who we are and what we have yet to give and to bless upon the world, I say yes and ask you to all say yes with me. So yes, and so it is. Thank you.
For our sacred reading, we will be reading the Sacred Covenant again. I don't know if any of the rest of you feel this way, but I'll admit that I'm getting a little tired of reading it every single Sunday. And yet, repetition and persistence has power in the vibration of our word. Before we read, I want to share something that came up in my devotional time this week. It's a quote from Emma Curtis Hopkins, and she says, "Who is there to make it a practical reality to us that we have given to disease, defeat, and death any power they have? And that any time we choose, we can take back to ourself that power till disease, defeat, death cannot be found. I, the highest and innermost self, take back power and reign." And Cynthia Bourgeot defines what the ancients meant by reign as to bring the dynamics back into right spiritual order by speaking the word and allowing it to vibrate out, enabling that which is out of whack to come back into alignment. Brother David Stendhal Rast says it this way: "In each of us there is a spark that can reverse the trends of violence and depression spiraling within us and the world around. By setting in motion the spiral of gratefulness, we begin the journey towards peace and joy." So let us read our sacred covenant together. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister from my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to glorify God, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as unity. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, "So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth." As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unifying and growing our community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspired to live in unity as an expression of wholeness and love. I am encouraging and supporting spiritual growth, awakening the wisdom within me. I am serving as a healer to all, applying the power of love, wisdom, and unity. I am generating engagement of the community in mystical studies and spiritual teachings. I am collaborating with community organizations working in service of a world that works for everyone. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will glorify God and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious. So be it now. Amen. Thank you all. And now it's time for a special song from Chris Drakup. Chris is a well-known and well-loved New Mexico musician. He began performing at age 15 in his hometown of Taos, New Mexico. He's been a singer, songwriter, and lead guitarist with popular acts, including the Mutts, the Rattlecats, the Chris Drakup Trio, Tammi Elskis, and the Soul Kitchen. And his most recent project, Funk of the West, is an energetic six-piece dance band that combines authentic American blues and funk music with African polyrhythms. Chris is known for his soulful electric and acoustic blues guitar. His original songwriting and regular performance schedule have garnered him critical acclaim and won him an enduring Southwestern fan base. So it's our great fortune to have you with us this morning, Chris. Thanks so much for being here, and welcome.
Thank you. I didn't know I was getting my whole resume, but thank you. Thanks for having me today. So I'm going to share a song with you that I wrote called Lost and Found. The first time I met her, she said that she missed me. The mystery kissed me, captured my eyes. Till she opened the door, I never knew what was coming. We hit the ground running like cold water through the sand. And I still hear you calling, please follow me down. And when the rain stops falling and there's no one else around, and these pennies from heaven raise to the ground, the moment she touched me, I was lost and I was found, lost and found. My heart is open, breaking like the sea. You left the door wide open, now all the world can see. Down by the shore, the sound of her running, laughing and coming with pockets full of sand. These moments, they test me, you easily best me, your beauty arrests me, my heart falls to the ground. And I still hear you calling, please look, turn around. And when the rain stops falling, there'll be no one else around. And these whispers like heaven, my heart falls to the sound. And the moment she touched me, I was lost, but I was found, lost and found. Lost and found. My heart is open, breaking like the sea. She left the door wide open, singing all and come free. My heart is spoken, gentle the sun. The circle is unbroken, and all the world comes round. Lost and found, lost and found, lost and found. Oh, me, lost and found.
Just beautiful. Thank you. We are blessed this morning to have our very own Reverend Tammi Lambert giving us the inspirational talk this morning. She's been a practitioner here for over 5 years and just recently graduated from CSL Ministerial School. And today her talk explores responsibility, oneness, and compassion. So let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Tammi.
So good to see all of you today. Have some notes, so hopefully won't be knocking anything over. How is everyone? So good to see you all. So the talk today, who owns the problem? So this is a saying that my father used to say. My father passed this year, and kind of invoking his presence in a lot of areas in my life. And this is one of the things that he would say over and over. There were some jokes he would tell over and over, but this was one of the things that whenever I would call and say, this is happening, and he would listen for a while, and you could see him like waiting to jump in, like, someone, in a double Dutch game of jump rope, trying to jump in to say, and then he couldn't wait to say it. He'd say, who owns the problem? And I'd be like, ugh, right? Because it's a very complex question and a very interesting answer. Because the answer is, I don't, I do, and we all do. So let's look at the I don't. Now, sometimes someone is losing their stuff with you, around you, or the world just seems to be kind of going off kilter. And in that situation, it's so easy for us to react, right? And we remember that we are brought to be creators, not reactors, right? We have the power of love and power and spirit in us, and we're aware of it, and so we can create reality instead of responding to everything that happens, right? So we give up being reactors or creators. So what is the first step in looking at, am I reacting or creating? And the first is, if I'm triggered, that's mine, right? I've told you many times, I remember when I was in practitioner school and class, and one of the coaches said, I may have pushed your button, but I didn't install it. That is still good advice, right? I pushed it, I install it. So if I have the button installed and somebody could push my button, whose button is it? Who owns that problem? I do, okay? So whenever we're in that situation, what we call upon ourselves to do is to be in a space of self-awareness. I am aware of what I'm doing. I'm aware of what's going on in here, right? And with that awareness, we actually have the opportunity to create, because we can separate ourselves from this machine. We can separate ourselves from the physical mass of the body. We can separate ourselves from the emotional body and actually operate from a place of a higher self of spirit. Remember, I am a spiritual being. I have an emotional body, I have a physical body, I have a mental body, but who am I? I'm a being of love, of intelligence, of compassion, of power. So when I see myself triggered by something, I often notice that it's a direct path to fear. I often know if I'm angry, if I'm seeing racism, I may be scared, and I may mask it as a whole lot of things, like outrage or, something, and I want to, get weapons and go out there and charge, right? Often, though, when we look at our reactions, we're actually brought into an opportunity to do something else. Now, what about when you look at the situation and you see yourself triggered and you say, okay, I get that emotion. Thank you, emotional body, for sharing. And then you just kind of put it aside for a minute and you look at the situation, all right? Now, for me, I'm very visual, so I'll actually put a picture, a mental image of that person or that situation, right? So you have, like someone and they're like raging and they're saying stuff and, they're at it and all that. Whose problem is that? That would be theirs. And so you have an opportunity to make a choice about whether you accept that or not. I was talking to my cousin, and someone had posted something online and on Facebook, and her daughter says, "This looks personal." And so I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that does look personal. And she looked at it and said, well, I choose not to take that on. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I get that. I was remembering, a lot of classes that I've taken with pranic healing with Grandmaster Chakok Sui would say that, people would stand up in the class and be, railing and trying to get a point across and all of that. And he would just listen. And he wouldn't energize it. He just let it be. I learned that from a classmate in law school. Back then, I wasn't so good about my anti-gossip thing. And I had a friend I would study with, a Native American guy, and he would just, I'd say, can you believe so-and-so and so-and-so? And did you know? And da-da-da-da-da. And he would say, And it would just fizzle out, right? That was a powerful lesson because he didn't get up and, preach about it. He didn't get up and do anything. He just stopped listening to it. And it took the energy out of it, right? Because we remember when we are putting our attention on something, we're energizing something. So when someone's in their stuff, and it's clearly their problem, we have a choice on whether we energize that or not. Now, say we've done the work. We said, who owns the problem? I'm triggered, so I put my little emotional body aside, right? And then I look at them, and I see that they're, doing whatever they're doing. Then what is that an opportunity to do? Since I have said that I'm a being of power, intelligence, of beauty, and love, and compassion, all this other stuff, I get to choose what kind of energy that I put in that situation right then. And we're always at choice, but we have to do the work. So when we ask ourselves who owns the problem, we have an easy solution. There is identification through self-awareness. This is mine. There's an identification of self-awareness of what is theirs. Now, one thing I want to point out, many of us do meditation, correct? We do a lot of meditation and prayer, and we, energize ourselves spiritually, and we're in compassion and love with the world and all of that. You know what that makes us? It makes us more empathic. So we don't just have empathy, we become more empathic because we're a oneness and we're in this conversation of oneness and being connected to the world. So being empathic is actually a neurological response to what's going on around us. So sometimes, and 20% of people are empathic to different degrees and in different ways, but what happens is that when someone comes at you and you have been meditating and you're spiritually attuned and you're aware of everything around you, you feel it in spades. It's like it's been magnified, right? And you feel it. I know there are times when after meditation and a lot of prayer, I would do self-awareness meditations, and I could actually see, because I'm kind of a little bit clairvoyant, right? So I could see like arrows shooting at me of energy, right? A lot of us who are on this higher spiritual path feel very deeply. And so asking who knows the problem is one of the first questions we can ask ourselves as we go into a world that we are deeply feeling. And it's just a little tip. When we are doing that, we have a choice. We can shield ourselves, right? We can clothe ourselves in white light and just put ourselves in a white bubble. But there's also something that I want to point out. So I was imagining, like, what would be a situation, and I'm just making this up. Say you're in the bank, you're in the line, and there's someone there who is an unhappy customer, and they are just letting the bank teller have it, right? They're just vomiting unprocessed stuff all over someone because of their frustration or whatever's happening, right? So you, sensitive person, are standing in the line with other people. So you have a number of choices. As an empathic spiritual meditator, you may have felt that. So one of the first things to look at is what I felt mine? I learned this very powerful lesson when I used to do work with domestic violence victims. I think I've told you this before. I'm sitting in my office, all is fine. And someone comes in and I'm instantly feeling helpless and scared and fearful and, like anxious. And I was thinking, why am I feeling this way? I was feeling fine when she walked in, and then I realized I was feeling what she was feeling. So sometimes you can feel what other people are feeling because you are empathic and spiritually in this conversation of oneness. So when you ask yourself who owns the problem, it might be not me at all. So you get that that's what that person is feeling, and what comes up for you is an opportunity for compassion. So say the person, we're back to our bank analogy, the person walks out the bank and you go up to the teller. And she's exhibiting signs of what happens when someone just loses their on someone. She may be a little shaky. She may be trying to process it, right? And trying to act professional with you like it's okay, and right? And so you have a number of choices. You can go in there and say, can you believe that jerk? Right? What would you do in that situation? Now remember, we don't want to energize it. So what do we have the opportunity to do? So say you felt that, and you distinguish, this is mine and this is theirs. This is my experiences of people when people did that to me, and I'm triggered about that. I'm going to put that aside for a minute. And what is my choice? My choice in that situation would be to be the power of love, to be the heart. Now, in any situation, no matter what kind of fire you're under, we always have a chance to open our heart chakra and just blast it open. For me, I like to see this point of brilliant white light just showing out from my heart. Some people like to imagine a flower opening. Now, usually, if we're in fear, right, you're triggered and all of that, you might want to shield yourself. Or you could go in there and say the power of love is more powerful than any force. You can walk in there and say, I am the divine light of Christ consciousness. Only good comes to me. Only good comes from me. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks. That's an Astara meditation. Only good comes to me. Only good comes from me. And I am surrounded by the white light. And so you can walk in there with this conscious intention to be love in that situation. And what are we doing? We are transmuting the energy. We're not changing anything. We don't have to say anything. You walk in there being consciousness. You walk in there being that higher consciousness. And so I learned that when I was in pastoral care class in ministerial school. Honestly, I don't really remember a lot of what we learned. What I do remember was that when that instructor, who was a chaplain, walked into the class, I had the experience of love for no reason. For no reason. I'm telling you, that chick walked in and I felt love. And I was like, how does she do that? People are in there processing all kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure the class was good, but that's what I learned in that class. that in absolutely any situation you get to be love. Put our stuff aside. It's like I put my purse down. We can put our stuff aside for just a moment and experience love. And what happens is because we're all connected, when I put my stuff down and experience love, guess what? My stuff gets transformed too. Because this active choice of consciousness leads to compassion. Now, I have some quotes that I want to read, so I'm going to pull it up in my notes. Well, I got far. One of the things that we do when we are taking on that stuff, and when we put our stuff aside and take on being with someone else, is we are actually taking on a forgiveness. It actually takes a forgiveness. There's a moment where you have to give up your judgment of everyone involved, including yourself, and be there. And that is an act of forgiveness, and that is an act of compassion. So I wanted to read something that is from the New Thought Dictionary that's attributed to Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. He says, forgiveness is the active practice of compassion, the process of relieving perceived hurts, judgments, or grievances, which allows us to see the presence of spirit in everyone. Well, isn't that right on point? We give it up. We let it go. And by doing that, it gives rise to compassion. There, but for the grace of God, go I. I understand that person is upset. I understand the situation is how it is. Right? We give up our judgment of it, and we take on, and to do that, we are taking on forgiveness. And that gives us, it allows us to see the presence of spirit in everyone and everything. So whenever we're in that situation, we're called to compassion because our relationship to compassion transmutes the situation. Transmute meaning it goes to a higher level. Now, we're reminded that when we sow more seeds of aggression and insensitivity, it hinders the awakenings of our heart. It is a blockage. That comes from Pema Chodron in her book, Welcoming the Unwelcome. When we go into aggression, when we see something wrong and we go into aggression, we're constricting our heart. Now, what is God? Love. So our experience of divine presence constricts when we get into fight mode, right? So we have to be very careful about what's the difference between fighting against something. You've heard me say this time, fight the power. We don't want to fight the power. We are going to be something different in a different way. We are called to love and compassion in a different layer of light. And so what we do is we are transforming the world starting with in here, but this transmutation is a catalyst for everything out here because we are one. So the spaces I'm taking in here show up everywhere. And so I can look at everything on the news, what's going on in the world, all of that. So we are a being of love, and we are the center of love and compassion. Master Chakuk Sui, who I quoted earlier, talks about we are connected and one with infinite power. So you imagine this person at the bank railing and being upset and bullying someone. Who are we? The power in us is greater than whatever that was. So you can actually take this light and fill the bank. You can take this light and make little, I'm guilty of doing this. I'll make little pink balls of love, stick them places. Little pink balls of love, energy balls of love, hang them all through. Sometimes I'll have a meeting and I know it's going to be terrible. I'll make a little pink heart love, ball of love and stick it in the corner. Right? Because I get to. Because why? The power of love is greater than anything that might be going on. And the power of love is so transformative. Any power that seems like it has the ability to do something, come on now. We know whose we are. We know what and who flows as us, right? It's a power that is beyond anything that is a lower energy. To quote the Bible, which I love, perfect love casts out fear. Sound familiar? Perfect love casts out fear. There's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. In 2 Timothy 1:12, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Of power, of love, and of a sound mind. That's what we're bringing to this conversation. Now, imagine that person is not just some angry person at the bank. Imagine that person as a whole government that's engaged in immoral and civil abuses. Imagine it's a situation of homelessness. Imagine it's a situation of all the wrongs in the world. Do we know that we have that same power to transmute that situation too? You see, because compassion leads to action. And I want to quote Amma. Because when we return to the inquiry of who owns the problem, this is the part where we get to we do. We all own it. And we all transmute it. Amma says, for me, compassion is the most important factor in our lives. It is the first step. If we take this first step courageously without fear, then all of our decisions and subsequent actions and their results will have a special beauty, spontaneity, and power. She said human calculations might be wrong, but actions born of true compassion will always be right. Actions taken in true compassion will always be right. So when your heart is open and you're acting in compassion, what is mine to do? What I'm doing in compassion is always right. This is because compassion is the law of nature, the power of God, and the heart of creation. If we tune the individual mind with compassion, then we as individuals are no longer really performing actions, but merely allowing creation to act through us. And this, the power of compassion, that's what it is. In truth, the spiritual path both ends and begins in compassion. The true spiritual path ends and begins in compassion. Ernest Holmes says, in The Only Reality, he says, compassion is the most gentle of all human virtues, for it is the outpouring of the divine givingness through all. We must be in the world, but not of it. We must relate to all beings and love, and with the sense of compassion, compassion is the deep understanding of the suffering of another, and encompassing and immersing the other in love. So we are that path. We are on that path. So when you think about it, it's a formula. Who owns the problem? I do, they do, we do. When we recognize who owns the problem, we can acknowledge any fear, surround ourselves with the divine light of consciousness, expand our love and compassion, focus on the gratitude in our hearts, and extend that gratitude and love, that beauty to all the players involved, knowing that that power is greater than all. We give up our judgment of who we think are aggressors and who are victims and who should do what, and we give it all up and just be that love. And we affirm, only good comes to me, only good comes from me. And be in gratitude. I affirm I am love in action. So I'm going to give you one last quote from Pema Chodron. If our aim is to wake up for the benefit of ourselves and other living beings, then it's necessary for us to change. These challenging times give us the greatest opportunity for change. Every time we see ourselves, we catch ourselves going down the rut of habitual reaction, we have a chance to interrupt the momentum and discover a whole new direction and depth to our lives. That is what we are doing. We are discovering a whole new direction and depth to our lives. We are causing a world that sees a whole new direction and depth. We are causing love on a measure that has not been known before, and it is coming through us and as us each moment with each experience we have. So knowing that, we ask ourselves, who owns the problem? And we know that we are living, walking, breathing love in action. Namaste. It is now our prayer time, and so if we could ask our practitioners to surround the room. I know that this power of love, of light, of beauty, the Creator, all that is consciousness, all that is energy that is transformed into matter in every level, in every dimension, I know that the power of light, this transformative love, is now in this room, in this presence. And I bring all of our awareness to it. I know that I am one with this. I am one with God and one with all, and every single person here, every single person listening, watching, is one in this same spirit. And I know, and I affirm, I am surrounded by the divine white light of the Christ. Only good comes to me. Only good comes from me. I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Tammi. I'm so grateful to know that I don't have to take stuff on, and that I can always choose the power of compassionate love. All right, now it is time to share our abundance, and there are multiple ways to give that are scrolling across our screen now. We have baskets here in the center on the stage, and I think there's one at the back also. Your offerings are essential to our ministries, and we're very grateful for everything that you give. So let's say the giving affirmation together. I am abundant, and I give from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings of spirit are as abundant as the stars, and so I give and receive generously, and so it is. And now we have another song from Chris.
It's love that you're running from. There's no hiding place. Love has problems, but there are problems we just have to face. You can't run if you just put your hand in mine. We gon' leave all our troubles behind. Keep on walking, don't look back. Don't look back. Walking, don't look back. Don't look back. Places behind you there to remind you. It's love let you down. There's something can be done. It's your problem, no one else's problem. You just have to face. You can't run, you can't hide. If you just put your hand in mine, we gon' leave all our troubles behind. We gon' walk and don't look back. Don't look back. Gonna walk and don't look back. Don't look back. Voices behind you there to remind you. Let you down, there's something can be done. You can't run, you can't hide, you can't run. It's your problem, no one else's problem. You just have to face. You can't run, you can't hide. If you just put your hand in mine, we can leave all our troubles behind. Keep on walking, don't look back, don't look back. We're gonna walk and don't look back, don't look back. Keep on walking, don't look back. We'll keep on walking, don't look back. Keep on walking, don't look back. Walking, don't look back. Voices behind you, there to remind you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. All right, and now it's time. So if you will bless with me. O divine giver of life, we gratefully accept these and all your gifts on behalf of our congregation and its ministry. We honor each gift and each giver, and we declare that our abundance is increased 1,000-fold, and so it is. We are delighted to welcome visitors to our center. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to see Carol Ann at the back table there. She has some information for you about our center and also a flower for you. And if you are new online, we welcome you to come by the center. We'd love to meet you. We have licensed practitioners wearing purple stoles who are very excited about working with you, offering a mini prayer treatment after service, or working with you in greater detail in a personal longer session. Those in purple stoles will be available after service, maybe seated over here in this area, or you can grab someone who you feel comfortable working with. And in addition, we invite you to use the prayer box and the prayer forms on the back table there. We go through those and hold those prayer requests in prayer all week long. And so we invite you to go ahead and place a prayer request in the box today. And now we have Dr. Norm Dawson here to share announcements with us. This will be followed by the benediction by Talia and a closing song by Chris. And then everyone will be dismissed to the fellowship hall and to the bookstore to take advantage of all the wonderful stuff there. All right, Talia. Or no, Norm, I'm sorry.
Good morning. Okay. All right, I have my trusty little computer here because I forgot to bring the printout, and so I'm going to read it from my phone here. And whose problem is that? That's mine. I own that problem. Okay. Wonderful service this morning. Thank you, Tammi. I always enjoy hearing your messages. They're just hit me right here all the time. And I also want to say that we had a beautiful tribute to a beautiful lady yesterday for Sherry Dempsey Helms. This was a wonderful production. It was put together by a lot of people in the community here, and if you didn't get a chance to go to that, it was just a stunning service. So I really appreciate what this community will do for people, and even when they're moving on to the next step. Okay, first of all, I want to share a report from the board that I got here, and this is all part of the announcement. So if you don't have your newsletter, it's in there. If you do have your newsletter, it's in there. So real quickly here. The board met on the 21st, and they were just full of optimism and confidence. We've noticed that there's been a rise in donations, so if you're coming here and you're live, then there are more donations, and if the minister or the person that's giving the message is live, then there happens to be more donations, so that's a good thing. Kind of makes sense here. The board had met, and Julie Lobato from the home mothership, the center, whatever that is, and Reverend Karen and the board all got together, and they had a good discussion, and they recognized that there is a really good day-to-day administrative things are being taken care of on a regular basis, and the practitioners meet regularly, and they're very cohesive together and even better than ever. Do you know how many practitioners we have here? Anybody want to? How many? 18. Boy, that's a lot of people here that are practitioners. So that's good. So they're all working together. And the board agreed. Oh, you know, we were all thinking that Reverend Karen was going to go bye-bye. Well, she's not. She's going to stick around. The board decided to extend her contract till the 31st because there's some of the 31st of December, the end of the year, because there's still a few more things to do, and there's some applicants that have already, or they're waiting for some applicants to fill the slots, and so Reverend Karen has put aside a slot in November, December for somebody to come in and talk to us. So that's happening. So this whole process is really moving along here. One more thing that the board acknowledges that Annette is doing such a great job with her technical abilities and her computer abilities, but she has an old laptop. So if anybody has an old laptop they want to donate to her, be sure you let her know, because we do need that extra laptop back there. So talk to her. Okay. A couple of things here more that I want to add to this. And this is not from the board, but this is just a regular announcement, is that there's a meeting called a Open Gather Discussion Group. Now that's led by Yvette Trujillo. She spoke last week, I think. And normally it's on the last Friday of the month, but this month was the last Friday was last week. So if you showed up there and nobody was there, well, that's because they moved it to the 1st of October, which is this Friday. So be sure you check that out. And that's just an open gathering where people get together and discuss whatever happens to be on their mind. Guess what? Save the date for a new member hybrid class that Reverend Karen is going to be doing. And this is an official meeting for if you want to become a member of this organization and you want to find out about the benefits, you want to see what the rules are and how to get to heaven and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm not. Just what we're all about, what Science of Mind is about. And if you want to be a member of this organization, this meeting is going to be online Wednesday, October 13th from 6 to 9 on Zoom. It's a love offering, and you can find out more details about this information in the newsletter or the website. The Course in Miracles is continuing to move along every week. This is a drop-in group here, and this is on a love offering basis as well. That is Thursdays from 6 to 7:30. So be sure to check that out. That's in person. Oh, the bookstore. How many of you have been waiting for that special sale that is going to allow you to save some money? Well, that sale, you know, all sales end. So I'm letting you know, secret. This sale is ending on October 3rd. So if you've been waiting to get something, and you're going to get up to 30% on some of the items in there, don't wait any longer, because next Sunday is going to be the last day. So be sure you get in there and get your books and whatever else you need. Oh, and also, they're also doing I just got this flash bulletin as I walked in this morning. Flash! They are now accepting new consignment items. So if you want to drop something off and have it sold here, talk to Leanie, and she will take care of that information for you. So go to the bookstore. We're looking for volunteers, and this is a great way to get some good information back there. The Compassion Ministries is still functioning. This month is on suicide prevention, and I just have to say real quick here, this is a really valuable service. I was on the phone with somebody, a total stranger. I got on the phone, and part of my sales process was talking to this guy, and all of a sudden he starts talking to me about suicide. I went, what do I do? So I knew that there was a hotline out there, so I contacted the hotline, connected him and me together. This guy took over and started moving it. So I don't know if I saved this guy's life or not, but I'm so grateful that that hotline was available. So Compassion Ministries has a lot of these items like that available. So check that out. So that concludes live from New Mexico, Sunday morning announcements. Oh, we have another announcement, another flash. Come on in there, Greg.
What time is Yvette's thing on Friday?
Hey, that's a good thing to get together on. Yes. Let me look that up here. That is going to be on 11 a.m. Friday, October 1st. 11 a.m. Friday, October 1st. Thank you, Greg. It's always good to have attentive people in the audience. And that ends my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Well, let us go into prayer again and give thanks. Thanks for this wondrous morning with laughter and joy and love at the heart of it, as well as compassion, that powerful force that combined with love and empathy supersedes all judgment, all pain, all fear. Knowing that we carry that power of love that is so mighty. So may we go out today thankful for all of the people who have provided service and inspiration and presence today. For your very presence here is inspiring. And so let us go out knowing that we are love, we give love, we receive love, we attract love, and love is all there is. So please say with me, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank y'all.